First impressions are interesting for two reasons. Number one, they're oftentimes wrong. Number two, they're very difficult to dislodge. Why do we do this? Because as human beings, we want to be right. We don't want to take a step back and admit that we're wrong, even if we don't have to admit that to anyone else. This matters because first impressions, gentlemen, are incredibly powerful. In today's video, though, I'm going to give you 10 things, 10 ways that you probably are messing them up and how to avoid them. First impression mistake, number one, the weak handshake, the limp fish, whatever you want to call this. It's when you put your hand out there and you don't grip. It feels, just like a dead fish, with a limp fish, whatever you want to call this. Don't have that handshake. So guys, you want to practice this, but break a handshake into three parts. Number one, you want to initiate it. So make sure that you're looking at the individual. You have their attention, and then just right out of view, boom, right there. They're going to see it out of the corner of their eye, and they're naturally, especially if you're at a networking event, if you're just meeting someone for the first time, most people are expecting it, and you want to be the person that initiates it. Part two of a handshake is to get a good grip. This oftentimes depends on the size of your hand. If you've got larger hands, be aware that other people, you don't want to overpower them. You don't want to crush them, especially if you're shaking a woman's hand. Now, if you're like me, you've got slightly smaller hands, you want to make sure that you don't get grabbed at the wrong area. Sometimes people will grab me up here too early, and honestly, I can't even do much to it. So I always go forward, and I'm pushing a little bit more. I turn my hand slightly like this, and I'm trying to grab right in there. I'm taking the lead. I'm taking charge of the handshake because I want to make sure I get the right grip. Part three of the handshake is how long to actually continue to shake hands. I like 1, 2, 3 shakes, and then I'm done. Now, some people go to 5. If you're going up to 10, probably a little bit too much, but you want to, show them, hey, give them that firm handshake and then disengage. First impression mistake, number two, not having the right amount of eye contact. I see this a lot with students coming into the United States. Maybe they've got a scholarship, they're going to USC, they're going to be studying neuroscience, but they're not used to engaging with all these people that look at them and expect them to talk, because in their home country, as a student, they oftentimes look down. They showed respect, especially with women. Now, with men, we're a little bit better, I think, overall, because it's expected by societies that we have stronger eye contact. But remember, the rule is 50-70. 50 whenever you are talking. You want to be looking eye contact 50% of the time. 70% of the time if you're listening, because that shows that you're paying attention. And that's where it becomes a first impression mistake. Because if you're constantly looking down, if you're looking over, people don't think that you're paying attention, that you're not listening to it, and it comes off as rude. You want to make sure that doesn't happen. First impression mistake, number three, gentlemen, is showing that you're an excessive sweater. If you sweat a lot, not much you can do about it. That's just simply the way that you were born. It's something that you get hot easy, you sweat quite a bit. This is your body's natural response to being hot. I understand that. But for you to walk into a room and to have sweat all over your face, have it all over your hands, have pit sweat stains that are all over the place, people are going to be repulsed by that. They're not going to want to get close to you. They're not going to want to shake your hand. So how do you do this? Well, show up to the meeting early. Have a rag available and simply wipe your face, wipe your hands again and again. Know and how to deal with this. But what to do about the armpits? Guys, I want you to go check out Thompson T. They have developed a shirt right here that actually has pads right in the armpit, and it's guaranteed to not show right through the shirt. Guys, this is the paid sponsor of this video, but I have to tell you, I tested this out. I had a 26-hour flight. I had to repack things because bags were overweight. So I spent 30 to 45 minutes. I'm already starting to sweat. I get on the airplane. It's hot. I had to carry 4 bags because my daughters didn't want to carry their bag because I got 4 kids with me. So guys, I can tell you already, this thing is, I'm like, wow, this is looking great. I'm not actually having, any sweat stains. It was very comfortable. The fit was super. It's a longer undershirt, so I didn't have to worry about it coming untucked. I got back, I finally got to my sister's after 26 hours, and I can tell you, it actually did a pretty good job of odor resistance. So I was very happy with this company, with the product. I want you to go check them out, guys. Great company. If this is a patented sweat-proof undershirt, guys, it's guaranteed. Everything about this thing is about keeping you dry, keeping you confident. Like I said, the cotton and bamboo blend, they're made in the United States, and that's the fabric, that's the sewing process, the labels, everything in the United States. All right, gentlemen, so I'm going to put the link down in the description. It's www.thompsont.com/Real Men, Real Style, and use the code RMRS 15 for 15% off. Gentlemen, I love this undershirt. It fit well. It did its job, which was protect my underarms from having those nasty pit stains. And overall, like I said, I tested this thing out. It's a great product. First impression mistake number 4, smelling like crap. Guys, I'm not talking about body odor. I'm talking about the overuse of fragrance, of cologne, of perfume, of toilette, whatever you want to call it. You want to make sure that when you wear a fragrance, especially when you're meeting people for the first time, you don't announce yourself before you walk into that room. You want to be discovered. Use one spray. Use something that you've used before. You don't want to try something new. You put on 3 sprays and you can't get this off, and you walk in there and everyone just looks over before you have even said a word. That's not the impression you want to make. First impression mistake number 5, not listening. Actually, what you're doing is you're waiting for your turn to speak. You're not even paying attention to the conversation, and you just want to get in your 2 cents. The problem with this is that people can tell, especially people at a higher level who are paying attention. Be a good listener. Actually ask questions, ask people to continue, ask them to expand on what they were just talking about. People love a good listener because it's so rare and it shows that you show an interest in them. Everyone loves it when you show an interest in them. First impression mistake number 6, and it's closely tied to the one I just talked about, is actually not having anything prepared to talk about. So you always want to have some great stories. 3, in fact, I think that every man should have that he can bring to a cocktail party, that he can bring to an interview. If you are talking with 5-year-olds, you have some great stories, something that you can entertain, something that you can engage with. Make sure the story has a hook, has a strong beginning. Then you actually have a point, or the information you're trying to get across, and then you have a quick wrap up. Have the stories about 2 to 5 minutes in length. If people want more, they're going to ask you to go into more detail. And also pay attention to your audience. I talked about kids, but you may be talking with 20-year-olds, you may be talking with, retirees, whatever it may be. Have something that's relevant to them. Know your audience and have something to say. First impression mistake number 7, not having a sense of humor. So you've got to have a sense of humor. Humor is a very interesting characteristic because it can show intelligence, especially if you've got what's called high humor. High humor is where you use sarcasm, or in a joke, there are double meanings. Now, avoid slapstick humor or crude humor. This is humor that shows a lower level of intelligence, and it's oftentimes physical. It's talking about, if you're going to talk about fart jokes or, butts or whatever it may be, understand that's crude. It's funny at times. I can tell you my kids love stuff like that, but you want to take it to the higher level. I'm actually pretty proud of my 12-year-old. He gets a lot of very higher level jokes. First impression mistake number 8, weak body language. Never try to make yourself smaller. Never try to hide yourself. Always be confident. Open yourself up. Be one that wants to attract other people. Understand that this stuff is real. I've talked about how Amy Cuddy over at Harvard has done tons of research on how people make initial first impressions based off of how they see that individual. Just remember, open yourself up. It's going to be powerful. Closing yourself off is not what you want to do. First impression mistake number 9, not knowing your bad habits, not knowing your tics. And these are things in which you do them and you don't even know that you're doing it. I have a good friend, he always picks his nose. He doesn't even know he's doing it, but he'll just be talking to people and all of a sudden he's just picking his nose. It's just a habit. He doesn't even know he's doing it. But also crutch words and videotape yourself. I know I've got crutch words, but it is something that once you're aware of, that's the first step to changing it. So this next first impression mistake may seem really small, but it can sink a relationship really fast by forgetting somebody's name, or worse, calling them by the wrong name. Why is this such a deadly error? Because it affects that person's ego. The fact that they aren't important enough that you can't even remember their name. People love to hear their name. And if you call them the wrong name, try doing this with a girl you're on a date with. Guys, you ain't getting a second date. So how to remember names. There's many tricks out there. I find what works for me is association, is actually saying that person's name multiple times. I also always try to get a business card, especially in a business setting, and I hold that business card. I look at it, I talk with them, I try to use their names. There are different types of memory. It's not just in your head, but also the muscle memory. And if I don't have any of that, oftentimes I will carry a pen with me and I will write down the first initial of their name. All these points I talked about here, it's about effort. It's about you actually taking steps in the right direction, because we're always going to make mistakes. The goal here is to minimize those mistakes so that you can consistently put forward your best first impression, so that you can, in that person who you just met, you can be up here versus down here. Because once you're in that down position, it's very difficult to make your way up. It's always better to start off up here. Now, guys, I want you to go check out the sponsor of this video, Thompson Tee. Again, I tested this shirt. I'm loving what I'm wearing here. And for those of you that have excessive sweating, this is going to be awesome, especially since you don't have to use special deodorants that actually clog up the pores here. So guys, go check out Thompson Tee. I'm going to have a discount code down in the description. That's it, gentlemen. Take care. I'll see you in the next video.